Have you ever seen something you just absolutely had to have, like, I don't know, a brand new phone or that next-gen gaming console, but then you check your bank account and it just kind of looks back at you and says, yeah, no, not today. Trust me, we have all been there. But what if I told you that actually getting those things isn't about luck at all? It's entirely about having a roadmap. So, welcome to today's workshop. I'm your host and financial coach, and this explainer is your step-by-step blueprint to unlocking some true financial independence. We're going to take those big wish list dreams and transform them into concrete, totally achievable reality.
Okay, let's take a quick look at our class syllabus for today. First up, setting your SMART goals. Second, doing the savings math. Third, building your progress tracker. Fourth, we'll dive into needs versus wants. And finally, number 5, the final savings challenge.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Setting Your SMART Goals. You know, the absolutely fundamental rule of wealth building is that a savings goal without a highly specific plan is really just an empty wish. If you just say to yourself, hey, I want to save money, you're going to get lost. You need a GPS for your money. The SMART framework is amazing because it completely transforms a super vague desire for, say, a laptop into a structured target. Let's break it down. S is for specific, so I want a MacBook Air, not just some computer. M is measurable, meaning I need exactly $800. A is achievable. You got to be honest here, like I can realistically save $50 each week. R is relevant. I actually need this for school. And finally, T is time-based. Give yourself a hard deadline, like I want it in 4 months. When you lock in those 5 pieces, bam, you suddenly have a direct, clear path to success.
Now that we've got our goal locked in, let's move to Section 2, doing the savings math.
Okay, I know the word math can sound a little intimidating, but don't panic. Let me reassure you, the math we're doing here is literally just basic addition, subtraction, and division. Let's test it out. Meet Maria. Maria wants a new phone that costs $600. She already has $100 sitting in her piggy bank, and she knows she can save $25 a week from babysitting. I want you to take a second and try to mentally calculate the timeline before I give you the answer. How many weeks is it going to take Maria to get that phone?
Let's walk through the exact steps together. Step 1, find out what's left to save. We take the total cost of $600, subtract the $100 she already has, and that means Maria still needs $500. Step 2, calculate the time. We take that remaining $500 and divide it by her weekly savings of $25. And 20 weeks. Every single week of babysitting brings Maria one step closer, and in exactly 20 weeks, she hits her goal.
All right, let's try another one. This is David. David really wants a gaming console for $450. Now, he earns $40 a week from a part-time job, but there's a slight catch. He spends $15 of that every single week on snacks and drinks. So how long is it going to take him? This is super important because it shows how your weekly spending directly impacts the timeline of reaching your goal.
So here's the crucial point. We have to calculate his actual net weekly savings first. Look at step 1. We take his $40 earned minus the $15 spent, which actually only leaves him with $25 saved each week. Now for step 2, we take the $450 total cost and divide it by that $25 weekly savings. This gives us David's true timeline, 18 weeks. Honestly, if he just skipped those snacks, he'd be gaming a whole lot sooner.
And that brings us perfectly into Section 3, building your progress tracker.
A savings tracker is literally the ultimate tool to maintain your motivation, build up some real financial discipline, and avoid the temptation to overspend on, well, things like David's snacks. Think of your tracker exactly like a progress bar in a video game. Take Emma, for example. She's aiming for a $500 goal and she's already saved $200. Using a simple percentage formula, so 200 divided by 500 multiplied by 100, we can see her progress bar is 40% full. I mean, you wouldn't play a video game if you couldn't see how close you were to leveling up, right? Seeing that bar fill up shows Emma exactly how close she is to the win.
So how do we actually make one of these? Well, you've got a couple of really great options. First, you could go old school with a paper tracker. You just draw physical boxes and literally color them in as you save. Like if your goal is $500, you draw 50 boxes worth $10 each. Let me tell you, there's something incredibly satisfying about physically coloring in that box when you hit a milestone. But if you're more digitally inclined, you could use a spreadsheet tracker like Google Sheets or Excel. That's perfect if you love the automated, mathematically flawless nature of a tool that just instantly calculates your totals and percentages for you.
Now, if you want your smartphone to do all the heavy lifting, you can check out some dedicated savings apps.
Things like Rocket Money, YNAB, or Mint. These apps can just automatically track your spending and your savings right there in the background. Ultimately, whatever method you choose, paper, spreadsheet, or app, the most important thing is just that you are tracking every single dollar.
All right, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about Section 4, needs versus wants.
This is where we focus on a really critical lifestyle habit, knowing the absolute difference between pure necessities and temporary desires. Mastering this, it's the secret to speeding up your savings timeline massively. You've got your needs: basic food, essential school supplies, basic transportation. Then you have your wants: designer shoes, super expensive headphones, extra video games. Scaling back on those small, expensive wants frees up major cash for the things you really care about, your primary SMART goal. And hey, a quick trick: it is way harder to hand over a physical $20 bill than it is to just tap a card. So sometimes forcing yourself to use physical cash for your wants makes you much more aware of what you're actually spending.
But honestly, my absolute favorite pro tip is the 24-hour rule. It goes like this: wait 24 hours before buying something unnecessary. This is basically a superpower against impulse buying. If you see something flashy and you get that "I have to have it right now" feeling, just force yourself to wait one full day. You'd be amazed. You will find that most of those unnecessary cravings completely vanish after 24 hours, which keeps your money exactly where it belongs, safely in your savings tracker.
Okay, class, we made it. Time for Section 5, the final savings challenge.
This is our capstone project where you get to put everything we've talked about in this explainer straight into action. Take a look at this custom template. I want you to mentally map this out right now, or even better, physically write it down. Pick the item you want, write down the total cost, jot down the amount you already have saved, decide exactly what your weekly savings amount is going to be, and then calculate the weeks you'll need. This one simple table turns everything you just learned into your own personal, actionable blueprint.
And just to make totally sure you've got the skills to fill that out, here's your final test. Sophia wants a $1,000 laptop. She already has $250 saved up, and she saves $50 every single week. Take a second. I want you to calculate 3 things for me. How much more money does she need? How many weeks is it going to take her? And what percentage of her goal has she already saved?
All right, let's look at the answer key and break down her journey. Step 1, 1,000 minus 250 means she needs $750 more. Step 2, 750 divided by $50 a week gives us a clean timeline of 15 weeks. And step 3, 250 divided by 1,000 times 100 means her progress bar is already sitting at 25%. Fantastic. You now have the exact mathematical tools, the SMART framework, and the tracking strategies you need to master your money. So I'm going to leave you with one final, very important question. What is your first major savings goal going to be now that you finally have the blueprint? Thank you so much for joining the workshop today, and go build that wealth.